Good morning. This is Kasturi Day. I'm continuing with the chapter Classification of Animals Question Answer section of ICSE syllabus class 7. Today I'll be continuing with the differentiate between the flatworms and roundworms. The difference between flatworms and roundworms. Flatworms comprise of dorsoventrally flattened body. Okay, dorsoventrally flattened body, whereas roundworms comprise of cylindrical body tapered to a fine point at each end. Both sides they are tapering, both ends they are tapering. Okay, flatworms comprise of phylum Platyhelminthes and roundworms come under the phylum Nematoda. Flatworms are acoelomate animals, that is no body cavity. They do not have a body cavity, whereas roundworms has a pseudocoelomate. They are pseudocoelomate animals which have a false body cavity. Pseudocoelomate means false body cavity. Flatworms lack cuticles, whereas roundworms consist of a hard outer covering called cuticle. Then flatworms have an incomplete digestive system, whereas roundworms have a complete digestive system. Flatworms are unisexual, whereas roundworms are hermaphrodite, having both the sex organs. Hermaphrodite means they have uh, both the sex organs in a single animal. Okay. Then flatworm are infectious, may cause weight loss and tiredness, whereas roundworms may cause large infections in the lungs. Okay, flatworms cause diseases like lung flukes, liver flukes, etc., whereas roundworms cause diseases like ascariasis, hookworm disease, etc. Okay, now we come to the difference between Arthropoda and Mollusca. Body divided into the Arthropoda animals are body divided into head, thorax, and abdomen, whereas in Mollusca they are soft-bodied animals. They have three distinct parts: a distinct head, a visceral mass, and a muscular foot. Okay. Then Arthropoda's body is covered with chitinous exoskeleton, whereas Mollusca's body is covered by calcareous shell. Arthropoda have jointed appendages. Arthropod means jointed appendage. Pod means appendage or legs. Okay, though they have jointed legs, whereas mollusks have distinct foot for moving around. Then Arthropoda excretion occurs through coxal gland on the Malpighian tubules, whereas mollusca excretion occurs through nephridia. Arthropoda respiration occurs through trachea or book lungs, whereas in respiration occurs through gills in mollusk. Then Arthropoda, for example, is prawn, cockroach, etc., and mollusk example is octopus, squid, etc. Uh, then we come to the differentiation between radially symmetrical body and bilaterally symmetrical body. Okay, radially symmetrical body generates identical body halves around the central axis. In any axis, if we cut uh, identical halves, then we can get it from any angle from the central axis, around the central axis. Okay, but in bilaterally symmetrical body, the generally only it can be cut into two halves, as left and the right along the sagittal plane or the middle line. If we cut through the middle line, we get two halves, two equal halves, as the left and the right. Then in radially symmetrical body cannot be divided into left and right sides, whereas in bilaterally symmetrical body, sagittal plane divides the body into left and right sides. Then radially symmetrical body, they are similar body parts and are arranged in a regular manner around the central axis, whereas in bilaterally symmetrical body, the body parts are arranged in both left and right sides equally. Then in radially symmetrical body, the development of the head in front of the body is rare, whereas in bilaterally symmetrical body, the development of the head in front of the organism's body is a prominent feature. Radially symmetrical body example is sea urchin, starfish, etc. Whereas in bilaterally symmetrical body comes example is humans, insects, etc. Now we come to the differentiation, fourth differentiation between amphibians and pisces. Amphibians is the group of frogs and pisces the group of fishes. Amphibians, they live both on land as well as in water, whereas pisces, they live only in water. Amphibians, they do not have scales but have gills, whereas pisces, they both have scales and gills. Amphibians have mucus gland in their body, whereas pisces have no mucus gland in their body. Now we come to the differentiation between aves and mammals. Aves, they lay eggs, but mammals give birth to their young ones. Then aves, they are fed by the parents by regurgitating the partially digested food, whereas mammals feed their young ones with the milk produced by the mammary glands. Aves have wings, whereas mammals have paws, hands, and hooves. Aves have feathers. Mammals do not have the feathers. Aves do not have hairs, but mammals have hairs on their body. Aves have hollow bones, which make their entire skeleton very light so that then they can fly. Whereas mammals have bones filled with bone marrow. Then aves have nucleated RBCs, whereas mammals have non-nucleated RBCs. Aves have single ear bone, whereas mammals have three ear bones. Aves do not have teeth, whereas mammals have teeth. Aves do not have diaphragm, whereas mammals have diaphragm. Okay. Now, the sixth differentiation is between warm-blooded animals and cold-blooded animals. Warm-blooded animals include mammals and all aves, exception bats, etc. Whereas cold-blooded animals include reptiles, amphibians, insects, and fishes. Then warm-blooded animals try to keep their body temperature constant, whereas cold-blooded animals cannot maintain their body temperature. They feel warm in the hot environment and they feel cold in the cold environment. Then warm-blooded animals can survive in the cold environment, whereas cold-blooded animals in the cold environment, they hibernate. They go to sleep where they become inactive so that they can survive. Whereas warm-blooded animals are active and seek food in all kinds of temperatures. Cold-blooded animals require less food in comparison to the warm-blooded, as they do not remain active and cannot seek food in all temperatures. Then between vertebrates and invertebrates, differentiation between vertebrates and invertebrates. Vertebrates possess a backbone, whereas invertebrates do not possess a backbone. The name from where it comes, the vertebrate means the backbone containing animals, and invertebrates which do not have a backbone. Then vertebrates have presence of well-developed brain, internal skeleton, and advanced nervous system. Whereas invertebrates, there is presence of an exoskeleton. Vertebrates have large and faster moving animals. Invertebrates consist of small and slower moving animals. Vertebrates have a closed circulatory system, whereas invertebrates has an open circulatory system. Vertebrates do not have compound eyes. Invertebrates have compound eyes. Vertebrates include only bilateral body symmetry, whereas invertebrates both bilateral as well as radial symmetry. Invertebrates include complex and highly specified organs with specified functions, whereas invertebrates have simple and unorganized nervous system. Then vertebrates are composed of two layers of skin. They have two layers of skin. One is dermis, another one is epidermis, whereas invertebrates have only one layer of skin. Vertebrates are heterotrophic, whereas invertebrates, they may be free living, parasitic, or heterotrophic. Then vertebrates, example are mammals, fish, reptiles, amphibians, and birds, whereas invertebrates, example are flatworms, arthropods, sponges, etc. Then we come to some short questions. This is that we have come to the end of differentiation part, and now we come to the short questions in my next video. Okay. If you like the video, please press the like button and do comment so that I can improve my videos. And please do subscribe so that you can get the notification of my next video. And another thing, please do refer to the text videos so that you can better understand the questions and better solve them uh, yourself only. Okay. Thank you.